Steel Curtain Network.
Touchdown! Touchdown para Calvin Austin! El Monte Washington es arma. ¿Quién más? ¿Quién más? DJ Watt!
What is up, Steeler fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Steelers Preview. I am Jeff Hartman, joined by Dave Schofield and Bryan Davis. Dave, what's up?
Hey, not too much, Jeff. We're kind of rolling through this thing now, and even though we thought it might take some time to get a Steelers head coach, we're at the same time like, hey, come on, what's going on?
Bryan Davis, welcome to the show.
They are sitting back like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons like this. Excellent. They know what's going on. They know what's going on.
I definitely feel myself rooting for the Seahawks this weekend just so that the Rams can be eliminated and maybe we can get some traction on some of the stuff going on. But we're going to talk about the latest news and notes surrounding the Steelers as we get you through the Steelers Preview podcast. But I want to start off with the topic that is the title of the show: potential surprise changes for the Steelers this offseason. Now, there is a giant caveat. The giant caveat here is that, well, when you don't have a head coach, that definitely does blur some things. You don't know what the head coach likes, doesn't like, the direction they might go in, all of that stuff. So we all understand that there is that caveat. But I want to do this offensively and defensively. It can be individual players. It could be schematics. It could even be coaching staff. But I'm thinking about the key word here is surprise. A change that could be happening that might make people go, whoa, that's interesting. I don't care where we start. I'm going to let Bryan go first. Bryan, you can say offense, defense, whatever you'd like.
I'm going to say offense because I have one loaded in the barrel. It's the Steelers make a big free agent move at running back and bring in Breece Hall from the New York Jets.
So you think Kenneth Gainwell is going to price himself out of Pittsburgh? Or do you think
he is? Yeah. I don't see his, my gosh, it's a 1-year deal. And what was it? Like $4 million? I mean, it was cheap for what he did last year.
Gainwell?
It was less than 2, I think.
It was very. I thought it was like 3.
Yeah, I think he's not old.
No, it's fair. So you think Breece Hall would be the surprise addition? I like that you went with addition and not subtraction. Okay, Dave, do you have any comments on that?
Breece, I will tell you that I was right. It was $1.79 million.
Holy cow!
Last year. Yeah, that's
all right.
That's cheap. So it was the league minimum plus like a $620K signing bonus.
Amazing.
All right, so Dave, either you can comment on Bryan's or you can go ahead and go your surprise.
I know Bryan's been pounding the drum for Breece Hall. I think he thought the Steelers were going to trade for him last year during the trade deadline. I think he even mentioned that one out there. I don't think he's going. I don't think he's going to be in New York, but obviously. But I don't know about. It's really hard to judge that without knowing who your head coach is going to be and who the offensive coordinator is going to be. So I really don't know what to say. So I'm supposed to just do a surprising addition or subtraction.
A surprising change.
Just any kind. So surprising change. Surprising change.
For all you listeners and viewers out there, he did know about this topic earlier in the day. So I'm not springing this on these guys.
I know. I didn't know. I was more ready to comment on what everyone else said than everything. No, a surprising. Okay, I'll give you this. A surprising change. The Steelers transition to a 4-3 defense.
Okay, so you're going defense now. That's fine. It's fine.
I'm going next. You just said it didn't matter what we went with, so I was doing that.
So I need a new defense.
Yeah. Sorry. So who's supposed to talk now?
4-3 defense. That's it. I'm kind of
yeah. Sorry.
I think 4-3.
Yeah. Because the way I look at it is if let's say Cam Hayward doesn't come back, and everything. Or even if he does, a lot of times they were playing 2 defensive linemen. So you're talking about between Cam and Benton and Hartman. You don't have to bring back as many of the other guys. And when you did your 3 outside linebacker package at times, Now you basically have him on the field in your base defense, because I think Nick Herbig would go to an off-ball outside linebacker, and then see if TJ and Highsmith can get the job done at D ends, and just kind of run it on a little bit of the lighter side. And rather than bring in another defensive lineman, you're just having an extra linebacker in that regard.
Interesting. All right. Brian, did you want to comment on that? Because I know that it was one you were going to say.
Yeah, obviously I agree with that completely. And that is almost in a way projecting, and I'm not saying it is, but that kind of projects who you think the new head coach is going to be. And I'm not saying Dave based it on that, but I think whoever the head coach is brings their defense with them. And I still think that if it's a defensive specialist, I think I know who it's going to be, who I'm thinking, but I can bring that up with my defensive pick.
Okay. I'm going to go on offense for mine. And I'm going to say that a change is that Pat Freiermuth is put on the trade block. I don't think he gets cut, but I think a surprising change would be that the Steelers might say, hey, we've got a guy that maybe the Steelers view him as, we don't know what to do with him. He's not a great inline blocker like Heath Miller was, not the route runner we thought, doesn't have the best hands at times. He's a good team player, nothing against that, but if we can get something for him, I think that would surprise a lot of people, because I think some people view Pat Freiermuth as kind of the next generation of leader on the offense. I don't know if the Steelers view him that way, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's a good possibility, because right now Darnell Washington is poised to be a starter soon. And I think that's a move that is made on offense as well. And if something happens, I'm not saying that definitively happens, but I think he's a guy that is very valued in Pittsburgh, and they saw what he can do. And if it's a feed me more situation, he could be, if he's fed more, he's a top 5 guy because of what he can do after the catch. And he can still go ahead and catch the football. Pat is fantastic, and I'd hate to lose him, but I can see them. I'm not endorsing this. I'm just endorsing your comment that I think they dangle him. I think you're absolutely correct. Dave, any thoughts?
I hope they don't, because the last thing I want to do is see Jonnu Smith in a Steelers uniform next year. Just tell me it's a $7 million cap savings is enough for me, let alone that I just thought he was not good. I think he was the lowest graded offensive player for the Steelers for PFF for the season, because I just didn't think it worked. So I would love to see Pat Freiermuth have more success and be a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But at the same time, at this point, I think there's so many different things that could be on the table. I don't know that there's anything that would shock me.
Well, when I say the surprise change is Jonnu Smith being released for cap saving purposes,
that would not be a surprise.
Would not surprise me. So that's why I didn't say,
wasn't using that one.
So that's why I was like, well, I'm not going to say that, because I think most of us expect that to happen. Yeah. He just didn't live up to the billing. All right, let's go around again. Brian, what do you got?
I'm going to go defense here, and I'm just going to throw it on the table. The head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think right now, is going to be Chris Shula, and I think a lot of people are rooting for that guy. So everybody's heard the rumors about Chris Shula bringing a coordinator with him. It's not the one you think. He's going to bring in, and this will be a surprise to everybody, but he's going to bring in Raheem Morris if he is the head coach as a defensive coordinator, unless Raheem gets another coaching gig. Right now he interviewed in 2 places that already have coaches in place. I think that would be tremendous. He is a fantastic coach. He has had more success as a defensive coordinator for years and years and years. He was the Rams coordinator when Chris Shula was the linebackers coach. So you probably heard me on other shows say this, but this is a pick that I'm going with, and I'll tell you why. I listened to the Chris Shula press conference right before week 17. The Rams were playing in Atlanta that weekend. And he was talking about his relationship with Raheem, how he was taking his family, going over to Raheem's house on Sunday since they played on Monday Night Football in Atlanta. Raheem has been a huge mentor for him. I could see him in his first head coaching gig bring Raheem Morris. So if Chris Joel is the guy, you're getting a tremendous defensive coordinator in the head coach and in the guy he brings in as a DC.
Dave, any thoughts there?
I will say this, if it is Shula and Morris, both of them ran 3-4 defenses this past season. So my thing of saying I could see the Steelers changing to a 4-3 based on who they hire, that I think would take that away.
Not so fast.
Yeah.
Not so fast. Right. Raheem runs he often utilizes a mix of 3-4 and 4-3. So he's not married to it.
Well, I mean, so do the Steelers, if you really think about it. How often do they actually have all five, 3 defensive linemen on the field? It's not all that much anyway. So, yeah. But I'm just saying that's what their classification is based on stuff. Honestly, I'll roll into something kind of new, which kind of goes along with that with the defense. And I was trying to figure out something on offense. And frankly, the best thing that I could come up with is that the Steelers wide receiver room outside of DK Metcalf is going to be completely new this year. Because I also don't count Ben Skoranek really as a wide receiver. He's your special teams guy. So he's going to be your last guy on the roster. But so to me, all the guys in between, I wouldn't be shocked if it's all different.
You think even Roman Wilson?
I just don't know what they're going to do with him, because obviously he wasn't good enough to even get a helmet and get on the field with the prior regime. He's going to have to come out and really show something. And I don't know that they're going to have huge loyalty to him with a whole new coaching staff. I would love for him to do well, but bottom line is that needs such an overhaul. If he's already really far down the list, they need to keep getting guys better than him that are going in there. Because right now he just hasn't been that level to show that he's going to be a number 2 or even a number 3 guy.
Brian, what's your take?
Yeah, I think that's close to spot on. I think you'll have one more guy that sticks around. I don't think it's going to be Austin. I would probably think that it would be, maybe a Scotty Miller still stays in the mix, something like that. But as far as everything else, I could probably see not 1 but 2 wide receivers drafted this year. So that takes up 2 spots. One of them will be specializing in the return game as well, but that's not my surprise for special teams. And so I kind of think DK is definitely coming back. Of course, I think Scotty Miller stays. But everybody else, there's going to be a lot of turnover.
Do you both let Calvin Austin go?
Yeah.
Dave?
I'm going to say if anybody else gives him any kind of contract, then you're going to let him go. But that still doesn't mean that he won't be back, because if nobody takes him and you're like, hey, we'll bring you back for this small deal, then I wouldn't be shocked if they did that. But they're not going to – I don't see him as a guy they're going to lock in before free agency hits. I'd see him more of a guy that might come back 3 weeks into free agency.
Yeah. I agree. All right, mine is on the defensive side. And, again, I'm going to stick with the trend that I said with Pat Freiermuth, where they put a player on the block. I wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers – actually, I would be surprised. That's why we're doing the surprise changes. If the Steelers put TJ Watt on the block a little bit and say, what are you willing to give up? And are you willing to take on the contract? I think that, especially in my opinion, if Cam Hayward retires and says, I'm done, I don't want to go into a new regime. I had Coach Tomlin my whole career. I'm done with it. I'm just going to retire. Sure. I could see TJ Watt maybe even saying, I'm not interested in going through the growing pains. And if a Philadelphia Eagles called the Steelers and said, hey, we'll give you a second-round pick this year and maybe a third and a fifth next year, would you take it? I don't know if the Steelers would, but you got to think about it, right, Brian? What's your take?
Yeah, I was with you all the way up to the second, third, and fifth, but that was just an example, and I get it.
Yeah. He's not going to get a first. He's not going to
get a first, but I'd like to at least see 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
What if they were in consecutive years? So a second this year and a second in the following year, and maybe throw in a fourth this year as well. So a second and fourth this year and a second next year.
Yeah, I don't want to see him go, though. And
I don't necessarily either.
But what I'm saying is you've got to listen to calls on almost everybody on the roster. You really do. You take the calls because you never know. Remember the show Let's Make a Deal?
Yeah.
You never know what's behind that curtain. And what? Listening's free, guys. Listening's free.
Well, let me ask you both this question, Brian. In hindsight, what do you think about his contract that they gave him last year?
This, all honesty, I think that I think it was appropriate, and I know I'm in the minority. Now, the reason I think it's appropriate because they needed to keep him, and that's the only way they were going to be able to get that done.
Okay, that's fair.
They needed him on the team this year, but it hamstrings you for other years. And so now, yeah, you listen. But I think it was appropriate for year one. And I think they were, I don't want to say selling out, but they were going all in. And so for this year with a coaching change, I think you dangle. You just say, hey, he's out there if you want him with hopes to keep him. But if you get blown away, what's going on right now in Las Vegas is they are going to take, without a doubt, Fernando Mendoza, unless, as they're reporting, somebody offers something completely stupid. There's nobody else on their draft board right now but Fernando Mendoza, unless somebody says, I'm going to give you a Ricky Williams draft, my entire draft, or I'm going to give you 3 straight number ones. Then you got to go, all right, maybe we go ahead and do that. So that's kind of what they're thinking there. So the reason I bring that up, TJ Watt, what if somebody wants that guy to put them over the edge and say, hey, we've got cap space and we got draft capital? Because I'm going to say something else. If you watched the rest of the Seattle Seahawks this season, they put it in a high gear when they brought Rashid Shaheed in for a number 2 pick. Everybody talked about how that was way too much, but they're probably going to the Super Bowl, and they could be favorites to win the Super Bowl, and they wouldn't be if they didn't bring Rashid Shaheed in. So sometimes you make that deal too.
Dave, be curious your take on the contract in hindsight, and also what I said could be a surprise change.
Okay, the contract in hindsight, the only reason that you look at that contract and say, oh, that wasn't what the Steelers should have done, was based on how he performed strictly in 2025.
Right.
Everything else, I think, was appropriate at the time. It was appropriate with everything else, but you just didn't have the same year from TJ Watt. I think what it comes down, you say about trading TJ Watt, or Brian says everybody kind of on the table. My answer is that everybody is on the table, because it's going to come down to the new head coach. Sure. And I think that they're going to feel the same way about players as the Steelers did with coaching staff. Meaning that they said, hey, you all were free to look other places because it's going to be up to the new head coach if they're going to retain you or not. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the same kind of philosophy they're going to have with players, meaning, hey, here's the new head coach. Let's meet with the new guy. Let's see if we're excited and everything about it. And if somebody just seems like they're not on board, then you're going to move on from them. So that's kind of how I feel it's going to be, unless they do like what Mark Cabali said, felt like running it back if they hire Mike McCarthy, which I don't think that's what they're going to do. Maybe they will. I'm hoping they don't. then that way they're like, no, here we go. We're going to run it back. But I think but they're really resetting the coaching staff. I think it's going to be like, hey, we're going to try to convince these guys, but I think there's still going to be a volunteers, not hostages situation. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers ended up trading just about anybody they have under contract, simply because they might not see this eye to eye with the new head coach. So none of that would actually shock me. But when it comes to TJ Watt, if he feels like he can be a part of a defense with a coach that's going to get him back closer to a level of what he was prior to 2025, then he should be all over.
All right, these have all been good. And I like the fact that we went in way different directions on this. And so it really helped me think outside the box. But I do want to touch on some news before we take a break. Let's start off with the fact that some of these coaches are starting to find their homes. Reportedly, earlier today, Thursday, that the Baltimore Ravens and Jesse Minter have come to terms on a deal, and the Cleveland Browns can't get anyone to even interview. They've got people like Mike McDonald saying, I don't even want to interview. I'm going to take an offensive coordinator job in LA with the Chargers. Very interesting. But the Steelers, and now if the Ravens have Minter, and you look at who the Steelers have targeted so far, and then you look at other teams, okay, who else are they competing with? It's really the Buffalo job. Wouldn't you agree? Cleveland's not a desired place to go, and neither is Arizona. Tennessee's gotten their guy. Miami's got their guy. I don't know. It feels like the Steelers are okay just waiting and saying, let's see what the Rams do, and let's get these guys in-house. Even though, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, if the Rams advance to the Super Bowl, they are permitted to do an in-person interview the week in between, as long as the team they're employed by agrees to it.
I have to double check about it, whether or not it's in person, but they definitely can interview even again or whatnot. Are you bringing that up?
I'm looking because I had looked it up. Of course,
but there's definitely a window in there that they can interview, and then a window in there where they can't. I was thinking they were still virtual, but maybe you're right. Maybe they can get permission to do in person, but they don't have to grant permission to do them.
It's conference championship Super Bowl week. Virtual or in-person interviews with Super Bowl bound coaches are allowed during the bye week between the conference championships and the Super Bowl, provided the employer team is notified. So it sounds like early in that week, where they have that week off, if the Steelers say, we want Shula and Shieldhouse in Pittsburgh to do an in-person interview, that's when they would get it done. Just so I'm saying.
And Sean McVay is going to let that happen.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's already ready to lose. I mean, he knows he's going to lose those. A few of those guys. He thinks he's going to lose Mike LaFleur as well as an offensive coordinator.
His name hasn't been brought up at all, really.
Yeah, but not to Pittsburgh, but a few places it's surfaced.
So you have these weird trends that are happening. Brian Flores accepting an extension with the Vikings in the midst of a head coaching search. I don't know, Brian. What's your gut tell you?
Well, that's foreseeing the future for him. He's still a candidate.
Right.
He was still a candidate for the Ravens until Minter went away. And so he probably got the indication that he interviewed well, but the Steelers were honest with him and said, hey, we're looking in this direction. And so I don't think he goes and gets that backup plan if he thinks he's going to Pittsburgh or getting a head coaching job. So I think he wraps it up so he doesn't shuffle his feet and lose out.
Right.
And there's a potential he could go, but every decision that you guys make in your life, for your family, for your occupation, you don't quit your job before you accept another one, because what happens if they look at your DMV record and they see something they don't like, or something pops up. What a lot of people don't know is a lot of people go on Facebook and Instagram and look at you when you're going up for a job. And if you're a mess on on Facebook and Instagram when you're posting a lot of stuff, they'll stay away from you. And I'm not saying that that's what's going on in this situation. You get a backup. You don't leave until you're secure.
Bryan, what's your thoughts on just the search in general? Do you have an inclination as to who they truly want?
I think they really want Shula. I think let's put it this way. They want Shula, or McCarthy would be the guy. And I don't agree with that. I'm just saying that they brought him in. There's all these guys, ponies saying, oh, they definitely want him, and people were worried about that. But they go in this coaching search. You're supposed to do your due diligence and see if he blows you away. They probably liked him, but they haven't done anything yet. So they're either looking at right now, to me, they are either looking at somebody from the Rams, which I think Shula, or if they surprise the heck out of everybody and end up interviewing Clint Kubiak, who's with the Seahawks, who I think is going to the Super Bowl, by the way, and what they did with that paltry offense from a year ago is absolutely amazing. That team, when the Steelers ended up losing to them back in September in week 2, everybody thought that it was this big disappointment. Look what they turned into. So if that's a possibility, I doubt the Kubiak thing. They looked at his brother though too. I wouldn't be surprised if Kubiak goes somewhere. He calls his brother up and says, "You want to be an OC with me?" That's a possibility. There are other possibilities here too. But I think it goes down to a guy. I think they make their decision, Jeff, Dave, if their guy is available right now.
Okay. Dave, what's your take on all this nonsense?
Okay, well, first of all, back to the Brian Flores thing. Since I didn't get to speak on that, I actually said something to you about this earlier, Jeff. Him signing on to stay as the defensive coordinator at Minnesota, if he doesn't get a head coaching gig, I look at it. This is just a gut feeling. I looked at it as he may have been getting frustrated with teams that were giving him a head coaching interview, but he felt more like they were trying to get a feel for him for DC. And he could, because his contract was expiring, he was a possibility for that as well. So now signing back on, that's like, hey, this is kind of like, if they're going to talk to him, it's not going to be about, hey, it's head coach or nothing. So I think that wasn't a bad move by him at all. I don't know if that reads more into anything, if he's still in or out with the Steelers. I still want to see the Steelers get somebody that hasn't been a head coach before, just because. I'm going to throw out another name. I mean, if you want to talk about people blowing away the interview, the reports are the one who blew them away in the interview was Shieldhouse. Mm-hmm. That's where the reports are coming to someone that just blew away in the interview. Now, someone that I don't know anything about their interview, but it's just a name to keep in mind, is don't forget about Anthony Weaver. It's Anthony, right?
Yeah, he's coming in Friday in person.
So I'm not saying that I think he's going to be the guy, but don't gloss over him as not really being a possibility when you look at some of these other ones.
Actually, I would put Anthony Weaver probably high on the list.
Yeah, I would too.
I think the Steelers are going to be patient. I think they should be patient. There's no need to rush, especially if coaches that you really do like to potentially have as your next head coach are still coaching. Take your time. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we have some super chats to get to. We have trivia, bad memories, all that fun stuff. If you're watching live, we're not going anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, Steeler fans, thank you all for being patient. We are back. Let's get to some super chats here. Let's go to Steelhead477. Said, stay safe this weekend. Gives us $10. Yeah. Thank you very much. I know here in Western Maryland. I've heard everything from a foot to upwards of 18 inches of snow, or could be some ice on top, could be pretty gnarly. Guys, have you heard anything different?
Not different. We're kind of on the line of whether or not we'll get a little bit of ice at the end or not. That's the key. But because it's supposed to be so cold, especially the snow early on, is going to be very fluffy, and which means it's going to accumulate more. I saw a 100% confidence level of at least 6 inches.
Yeah,
so there's that, but a lot. I saw 8 to 14 plus. So I'm ready for it. We'll see what happens. Let's watch football day Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say Tim Lyons gives us $2 and says, Jeff, what's going on the smoker this weekend? Nothing, because I'm not smoking anything with over a foot of snow out there.
But it's not supposed to hit until like late Sunday, like 10 p.m. or later.
I thought
Saturday night.
Saturday. I meant Saturday. So you have all day Saturday if you were.
I mean, you got Friday and Saturday, Jeff. Smoke away. Actually, smoke it, and then you have it for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
And also,
then if you lose power, you already got your food.
And where I live, we're going to lose power. It's just the way that it is. We always lose power. So, all right. Yeah, this is good. John S. is bad. Live from an igloo would be electric. That would be great.
Okay, I tell you what. If we get 18 inches of snow,
oh boy,
I'll do a show outside.
In the finny pants.
Sure.
While he walks through a foot and a half of snow to get to my house to deliver me the movie popcorn he owes me from that bet.
Oh, I'll be glad to do that. Why don't we just go to a movie together today?
Yeah. I don't even remember what that bet was.
I don't either.
I referenced it last week. I didn't even remember we had that as what the.
but I don't lose because that means I get movie popcorn.
Exactly.
Too.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do some bad memories. You did a great job. I'm going to get the timer out just in case, but we're AFC Championship week. Do you want to guess, Dave? Do you want to guess where Brian's going to guess?
I thought the AFC Championship game was on this past Sunday.
I
get
what you're saying. Yes. Okay.
So I'm only saying that because Biggie Bronco's in the live chat.
I tell you what, we should do it this
with that
week and next
defense.
week.
You can never say that.
All right. We'll do two AFC Championship games. This is the first one, Dave. Which one are you going with?
Oh, an AFC Championship game. That's to me. That's gotta be Polamalu's pick 6 one.
I'm actually going to go with the win in Denver because the game is in Denver. So 2005 or that season, 2006, where they went into play the Jake Plummer led Broncos and won. That's where I'm going. Brian, what do you got?
I am not going with either one of those. In fact, I am going to go with one, I believe, when both of you weren't born. I can't remember. I think Dave was born in 1980, correct?
No.
78. Okay, Dave was born. Jeff, you were not born yet. We are going back to January of 1980.
Ready?
Yes.
Giddy up.
All right, right before the Super Bowl, right before the AFC Championship game, my uncle, who had tickets to the Super Bowl, said to my parents, he said, hey, I'm going to the game. Do you want to go? I've got tickets, thinking that my dad would say, no, my wife won't let me go. And my uncle, he's like, my sister will never let you go. Well, he goes in. We were at this party at Aunt Teresa's house. She comes back, all right, we'll take the tickets. And he was stunned. He was like, damn it, because I was supposed to give those to someone else. So they went to the Super Bowl, and they announced they were going to the Super Bowl if the Steelers beat the Houston Oilers. I go ahead, and I am, 7 years old, and I'm like, I don't know if I want them to win because I was afraid of my parents going on a plane and leaving me with grandma. And that's exactly what they did. The Mike Renfro throw happened, which a lot of Houston fans don't understand, that they were up like 28-17 or 21-17 or something like that. They won that game 28-17 or something like that. And so at that point, what would have happened? I still have 20 seconds. They would have been fine. So, real quick, they won that game. They go to the Super Bowl, win number 4. A couple weeks ago, I was doing a baseball podcast with a coach from Houston, saw all my stuff in the background, and said, by the way, Mike Renfro made that catch. I hate the Steelers. There you go.
Very good. 1:30 on the dot. Good job. All right. All right. Time for trivia.
I'm worried that Jeff is lagging and he doesn't have a chance at these, but we'll see.
I don't have a chance anyway.
Okay. Well, it's the off season. You guys want to do Jeopardy. So I'm going to continue to do Jeopardy.
We love Jeopardy.
And it's just going to be random Steelers topics. Sometimes it'll be, sometimes it might be about players. Sometimes it might be about, opponents, something under a certain category. If you are in the live chat, you can see my name with my X handle of STLR Superfan Dad. You can add a little @gmail.com if you want to for my email. If you have some good Jeopardy topics for me to do during this off season, send them my way, because a good topic is what really would form up some of these questions. So I'm looking for some listener help with these as we go. But we're going to do the white paper again in order to do this, because you got to hear the whole question here. Okay, and Jeff, you're the winner. So you're from last week. So you get to
did I win last week?
Yes, you did,
Yeah,
because Brian missed the last question and you refused to answer.
Oh, that's right.
Because he said 2 squirrels, 1 nut instead of squirreling those nuts.
Brain power. Yeah.
Because last week was Tomlinisms. The topic this week, your Jeopardy category this week is players of the 08 Steelers.
Oh, love it.
So players from the 08 Steelers team, the last time they won the Super Bowl. Are we ready? Jeff, what would you like?
400, please.
For 400, here we go. This player acted as the Steelers' 3rd quarterback for the season, although he did appear in one game where he threw one pass for a 3-yard completion to Hines Ward.
Bink.
Brian.
I'm going to say, who is Byron Leftwich?
That is incorrect. Jeff.
3rd string quarterback.
I know it.
If I included one other word, I thought it would have been too easy. So
I'm going to say, who is Brian St. Pierre?
Okay, so you both get it wrong. I thought you might just let it go. So nope, neither one
Is
of
it
you got
Charlie?
it. What I should have said is this rookie player acted as the Steelers' 3rd quarterback for the season, although he appeared in one game where he threw one pass for a 3-yard completion to Hines Ward. If I throw in rookie, did that help? You're not getting any points for it now. Just curious.
No. Not with me.
Oh, nope. That was the first career pass of one Dennis Dixon. He was the 3rd quarterback that year.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
So Jeff,
was that 4? Was that 400?
that was for 400, yeah.
All right, let's go 600.
600. All right. The Steelers only had 5 players with receiving touchdowns during the 2008 season, with 15 going to 3 different wide receivers, 3 going to a tight end, and 1 going to this running back.
Bink.
Brian.
Who's Moeldy Moore?
That is correct. Who is Moeldy Moore?
Let's just go 200.
200.
Get Jeff
All
back
right.
in the game.
Here we go. This Steelers defender logged the only safety on the season, as well as having triple-digit tackles and double-digit sacks.
Bink.
Brian.
Who is Lamar Woodley?
That is incorrect. Maybe I do need to phrase these with a little bit more easier stuff in them that I thought would be obvious. I don't want to say it. Is Jeff going to let it go, or is he
I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it
It's
go.
going to be Debo then, right?
What I should have done is I should have said this Steeler defender logged the only safety on the season, as well as having triple-digit tackles and double-digit sacks on his way to Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
James Harrison. Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
there's
and it
2
was James
double-digit
Harrison,
sack guys that year. It was
Yes,
Woodley and
there was
Harrison.
2 triple-digit tackle guys.
Yeah.
In Harrison, and the leading tackler was I'm not going to ask it. So okay, never mind. Wasn't it Ferrier?
I was thinking it would be Ferrier.
I would think it'd be inside linebacker. Yeah.
Yes, it was Ferrier. Sorry, I didn't.
All right.
Over for sure.
Brian still has the board.
Yeah.
All right.
Brian still has the board. Brian's what?
Could go 800.
Brian is even where Jeff is minus 400. Again.
Wait. No.
Huh?
I thought I got a 600.
Yeah, and you missed the 400 and the 200.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
all right. So we got 800 and 1,000. Woo. Okay.
Wait a second. Yeah, you're right. All right, let's go 800.
800. Here we go. I might have to redo these in the future because I'm like, I was trying not to make them too easy. I might have made them too hard. So I'm sorry. All right. The Steelers had 4 rushing touchdowns during the 2008 playoffs. 2 were by Willie Parker, and the other 2 were by this player.
Blink.
Brian.
Who is Gary Russell?
That is correct. Did Jeff know Gary Russell?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I knew Gary Russell. I just wouldn't have gotten. I didn't think he had 2.
Gotcha. Yep. He was the only other player.
If they only had 4 touchdowns, and I knew he had 1 in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he had one in the Super Bowl as well. So okay.
So yeah. So he had
I get
the
it.
other guy.
I don't remember the other one.
I don't either. And for 1,000 now.
Let's.
You ready?
This is for the game.
Yep. All right. Here we go. Troy Polamalu led the Steelers in interceptions with 8 combined from the regular season and playoffs. This player had the second most combined with 4, one of which was returned for a touchdown against the Browns. Deep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bink.
Brian's going in for it.
You know what? I don't care if I lose. I know it's not Deshae Townsend because his pick 6 was against the Dallas Cowboys this year. So I'm going to go with William Gay. Who is William Gay?
That is incorrect.
Don't care.
But you're still winning. Jeff would have to get it right. Jeff gonna take the shot.
I don't even know if he's on the team. I'll say he was Bryant McFadden.
Oh, that was a good guess as well. It was actually who is Tyrone Carter.
Ah.
Oh, never would have got
Against the Broncos, yeah, because of Ryan Clark.
Well, no, he was against the Browns. He had 2 interceptions in week 17, one of which you returned for a touchdown.
Ah,
yeah,
that's great.
And John S. got it. Just thought I'd put that.
I just knew it wasn't Deshae, so I was like, "Hey, let's just go."
I was worried that sometimes I put too easy of a stuff in some of these questions. So this gave me a little bit more of a gauge of how I want to do this.
No, that was a great question, Dak. Yeah,
that's good. All right, this has been a good show. Let's do some final thoughts. Actually, we have a super chat here. Hold on.
Yes, we do.
Let's go to Heath Davis. He gives us $5. Says hopefully enough people turn down the Browns job that they decide to close the franchise like the rundown McDonald's they are.
Going the way of Pizza Hut, right? Where you
There
see
you
all these
go.
old Pizza Huts that are something else.
Thank you for the tip. We appreciate it.
And
Hey, big New Yorkers.
Shouldn't that say El Jefe to start? Is it,
Yeah, normally he
Heath
does.
Davis?
Yeah. Heath Davis. All right, Brian, what's your final thoughts?
All right, my final thoughts are simple. When you go ahead and look at this weekend, I don't think anybody in Steeler Nation is rooting for the Rams. And I would love to see the Rams win and still the Steelers give the job and just play the waiting game and give the job to a guy like Chris Shula or Nate Shieldhouse. They can't hire him until afterwards, but I think it would just be so awesome if they got that opportunity to go ahead and hire a guy who just won the Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. I think that would be great. I know that's not popular in Steeler Nation right now, but that is, I'm stealing Dave's bag here, but that's my unpopular opinion because I know you want the move to be made now. I think it would be awesome if our guy comes with a ring.
All right.
There you go.
Dave, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Well, I'm going to kind of dip into something else that I said during Pittsburgh Standard Time. If you didn't catch that this morning, we actually kept it to a little bit more of a reasonable time. We're getting there, Jeff. But something that I said in that show that Greg completely agreed with, and I just want to put it out there again because I thought it really showed how I feel about everything. Is I'm looking at the Steelers head coach search as a lot like I look at the NFL draft. And that is, I am afraid to fall in love with anybody because what if they're not the Steelers' next head coach? And even worse, now this is off the table, but even worse, what if they end up with that putrid purple team? Now that the putrid purple team has their head coach, I could feel a little bit, and now it was also someone that the Steelers had met with as well, but I can feel a little bit better about those that are remaining because at least it's not that. But they very well could end up with that in that disgusting brown team, or orangish brown, whatever they are. So as much as I would love to fall in love with a candidate for the Pittsburgh Steelers head coaching job, I more importantly want to fall in love with the next Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. There, I'll finally get the words out right. So I it's one thing to give the takes everything, but this I also Bryan says, hey, wait, it's okay. I get it too if you're getting the guy you wanted. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, bring on the draft. I want to know which. I'm tired of talking about who it could be. I want to know who it is when it comes to the Steelers drafting players. I'm the same way with the head coaching search. Although I still don't feel that the Steelers are taking too long or anything like that. I just, for my own benefit, and I think a lot of Steelers nations is the same. Let's get the guy in here. And let's start filling out that staff, and then that really brings into perspective what the season's going to look like this year.
Well said, and I'm going to let everyone know that we're going to have you covered with SteelCurtainNetwork.com. That website is growing rapidly. Be a part of the community. Go there; it's totally free. SteelCurtainNetwork.com. Go to the top of the page, create an account, and comment on the articles. If you're commenting on Dave's articles, I know he always checks the comment section. I do as well. We'll respond. It's a great way to communicate, especially if you don't do the social media thing, SteelCurtainNetwork.com. Check out all of our podcasts, like my Let's Ride podcast with Kevin Smith, his Coach's Corner tomorrow on Friday, and Bryan with Kevin Smith on the Here We Go Steelers show. Dave and Greg, it's still good to go back and listen to Thursday morning show, the Pittsburgh Standard Time podcast. Check it out wherever you get your podcast by searching Steel Curtain Network. That does it for us. We'll be back next week for another Steelers preview podcast. Dave, why don't you send us out like you always do?
Hey.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Steel Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.